Sugar introduced the importance of commodities to the Western world. This led to an early form of globalization through people, spices, livestock, and ideologies from different continents, which brought together the path for a global economy today. Globalization triggered a thirst for competition between nations. Every country's goal was to become the economic influence and the technological and industrial powerhouse of the world. Sugar is a key base of our world today. It is something that we often take for granted and has a more complicated story than you might think. Sao Tome is one of the first places to trade and ship sugar and slaves. This is because Sao Tome was an island that was found to have cash crops and mainly sugar. Soon after the discovery of cash crops were found, it was observed that these crops tend to thrive on islands such as the Canaries and Madeira. Although there was extremely unethical labor-intensive work being done on these plantations. The cultivation of sugar was expanding rapidly. Therefore, the use of slaves was growing at an exceedingly high rate. Sugar became a necessity to the Western world. A quote from Born in Blackness says, "By the 1620s, Brazil's combined trade in sugar and slaves had eclipsed Portugal-Asia's trade in overall value and equal to the value of Spain's haul of American silver." All of this trading between nations was the height of the transatlantic slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade was a brutal and horrific process of people being traded, packed, and shipped across the Atlantic. These people were treated as if they were less than human beings, and many died during the travels due to infection, disease, and malnutrition. With the growth of cash crops and the use of slavery, there was a sudden outburst of booming industrialization. The U.S. growth of cotton alongside sugar brought a surge of consumerism. Sugar brought calories and cotton brought clothes. It was obvious that the industrial world was moving very fast. With globalization at an all-time high, there was a crave for power throughout countries. The Soviet Union and the United States are good examples of contrasting societies that were competing economic powerhouses. The U.S. was operating under a capitalist system. There was focus on market-based economy. Although it was based off of a more regulated system, it was also valued for the society to have individual initiative and competition. This system prioritized economic growth with freedom and democracy. The Soviet Union, on the other hand, was based off of a strong socialist communist party. This meant that the economy was regulated under heavy state control alongside production. This didn't bring success to the Soviet Union and eventually led to a crash in 1991. Although the Soviet Union crashed, they still came out of the war as one of the global superpowers alongside the US. The competition between the two countries was more than just differences in ideologies. The government. They both fought to have the best military, the best technology, and in the end, the US did end up winning this race. As the US became one of the global powerhouses of our world, the trend of competition never disappeared. China has been growing at a threatening rate. Similarly to the Soviet Union, China has different ideologies from the US and is running under heavier government control. The question lies of who will win this race. A quote from The World According to China states that the content and character of Chinese foreign policy suggests that the world according to China, one which celebrates these Chinese centrality as a geographic as well as political and economic construct, is one that leaves little room for the United States, its allies, and the values and norms they support. The challenge for the United States and its allies and partners, therefore, is to develop and realize a more compelling vision of how the world is organized and the values and norms that inform it, such as the world according to China remains an ambition yet to be realized." End quote. Sugar, globalization, and the competition between global powerhouses of our economy are what have stood out to me as the trends and forces over this course. Thank you for watching!